talk about a new movie that came out last week. Sorry, this is about a week late, but hey, things happen, stuff happens, you know how it goes. So, eh, 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 eh. Nope, wrong Joker. Sorry, Joker's not in this. This is the new Suicide Squad movie, or the Suicide Squad. The first one came out back in 2016, right after Batman v Superman came out. This was still the early days of DC Universe movies. At that time we only had Man of Steel, and like I said, Batman v Superman. So, that first Suicide Squad movie came out, the trailers looked great. It looked like a fun, action, dark movie that you would expect, especially from David Ayer, who did movies like End of Watch or Rope Training Day, you know. And the movie ended up being pretty bad, at 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, financially it did well, but critically it was a bomb. Even though it did have great performances from like Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Will Smith as Deadshot. Overall though, it was a major disappointment. Jared Leto as Joker was also a major letdown. So it's been over 5 years since the last Suicide Squad movie came out. We remember back in 2017, James Gunn was fired from Marvel because of 10-year-old tweets that he put out. And he was on the market, and DC said, we want you, come over here, you can do whatever you want. You want Superman, we'll give you Superman. You want Batman, we'll give you Batman. You want, I don't know, whatever you want, we'll give you. He's like, I want the Suicide Squad. And they were like, okay. And funny enough, when it was announced that he was going to do the Suicide Squad, that was like the perfect, like, when you think of like James Gunn and like the guy who did like Guardians of the Galaxy, taking obscure characters and bringing them to life, and now, Rocket Raccoon and Groot are some of the most famous Marvel characters now because of what James Gunn did in that first movie. But here we are now, like I said, 5 years later. And to be honest with you, I haven't watched the original Suicide Squad since I bought it on Blu-ray back in December of 2016. In fact, I bought it, watched it that day, and it was the same day that the opening day of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, the one with Felicity Jones, was in. That was the last time I watched the original Suicide Squad. So, not a fan of the movie, obviously. But now we got the new one, James Gunn directing, like I said. So let's get into the positives. Number one, just like in the first movie, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller is amazing. I like how this one, since this movie was rated R, unlike the first one, they were able to make her even more menacing and threatening and terrifying. There's some scenes in this movie that I'm actually scared of Amanda Waller than I am of the actual Suicide Squad. That's how great Viola Davis is in the movie. Newcomer, Idris Elba, not newcomer in terms of actor, new character, Ned Sport. Now, when the trailers came out, I thought, oh, this is just a recast of Deadshot, Will Smith. They showed the scene with him in jail, good at shooting people, has a daughter. I'm like, this is just like Will Smith's character. They should have just brought back Will Smith, or just said, no, this is Deadshot. We just had to switch actors because the original actor didn't want to return or something. But Idris Elba actually, other than the part with his daughter, Idris Elba is a badass in this movie. It makes you wonder why they didn't use him more in the Marvel Universe as Heimdall in the Thor movies. But Idris Elba has the grit and the badassery and that voice of his that he's great in the movie. Funny enough, John Cena. Like I said, about a month and a half ago, we saw the new Fast 9 movie, and I thought John Cena was not, even in a Fast and Furious movie, I thought, John Cena ain't doing it for me here. He's not good. But here in the Suicide Squad, James Gunn, very smart James Gunn, who knows how to direct his actors. Just like you did with Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer in that first Guardians movie. You know, Dave Bautista wasn't known for his acting, he was a wrestler, like John Cena. But James Gunn knew how to bring out certain qualities in Dave Bautista to make him shine, since he had limited acting ability. Well, he did it again with John Cena. James Gunn was able to find something in John Cena to bring out just the small ounce of acting that he can muster to actually give a great, pretty well-rounded performance here as Peacemaker. And weirdly enough, John Cena's the one who's getting the spin-off series on HBO Max coming, I think, next year. So, John Cena was really good in the movie. Margot Robbie returning as Harley Quinn. When I was watching this movie for Harley Quinn, I was like, you know what? She's not really in the movie that much. There's one scene where she does have like a 10-minute, you can almost like they go off track a little bit, almost like her own little short film, and do a little thing with her. But I was like, does James Gunn not know how to handle Harley Quinn? Or actually, side note, James Gunn didn't want to have Harley Quinn in the movie. Warner Brothers said to James, we have one stipulation. You have to have Harley Quinn in the movie. I don't care how you do it. I don't care. Whatever. Find a way to put Harley Quinn in the movie. Kind of like with Marvel to Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon wanted to have Wasp, Evangeline Lilly, in the Ant-Man movie, in like that first Avengers movie. But Kevin Feige and Marvel said, no, we don't want you to have Wasp. We're saving her for the Ant-Man movie. We want you to put in Black Widow. And originally, Joss Whedon was not going to put Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, in the Avengers movie. But Marvel's like, no, we introduced her in Iron Man 2. You have to find a way, Josh, to write her in Avengers. So he did. So this is just like now with James Gunn with Harley Quinn. And going back to what I was saying, Harley Quinn is not in the movie much. At first I was like, does James Gunn just putting her in there just enough to make the studio happy that he put her in there? But then I thought, Harley Quinn is very loud, very annoying at sometimes. If you put her in for too much of the movie, that can get really boring, for one. If you're just seeing the same shit over and over again, it can get annoying for some people if they don't like the voice, or they just don't like all the insanity that she brings to the character. Nothing against Margot Robbie, once again. Margot Robbie is to me one of the best actresses in the past decade, since The Wolf of Wall Street. And then it reminded me of Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow worked so well in that first movie because he wasn't the main character. You had Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley as the main focus. And Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, was in the movie, but he wasn't front and center. That's why when you get to like Pirates 4, and there's no Orlando Bloom and there's no Keira Knightley, and the whole movie is front and center Jack Sparrow, you realize, I don't like this that much. I like Johnny Depp as a character, but him being front and center doesn't work. That's why they made up for that in the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean. But it's also like Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. You know, Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs was so great because he was only on screen for 9 minutes in that almost 2-hour movie. And in that 9 minutes, every time he was on screen, it was like, wow, this is why he won his Oscar. But then you go to like the sequel, Hannibal, where you don't have Clarice Starling in the movie. Well, you do, but it's Julianne Moore. But the movie is called Hannibal, so the studio thought, oh, we need to focus more on Hannibal. And what happened with that movie? It was a fine movie directed by Ridley Scott, great director. But when you got too much of Hannibal Lecter, it brought the movie down. It's like, that's why movies like Red Dragon, maybe not the best of the Hannibal Lecter movies, but since Hannibal Lecter was in limited screen time in that, he shined a lot better. That's why when people say to me, man, if only Heath Ledger lived and was going to be in the Dark Knight sequel. And yeah, he was going to be in the Dark Knight sequel. But I was hoping if that ended up happening, I would hope Christopher Nolan would have limited the screen time of the Joker, just like he did in the Dark Knight, where I think he only had like 12 minutes of screen time in that 2.5-hour movie. It feels like he's in the entire movie like all the time, but he's not. Just because his presence and that atmosphere that Nolan brought makes you feel like he's in the movie more than he really is. And I'm glad that James Gunn realized we don't need to make Harley Quinn front and center. Even though she was the breakout character in the original, she doesn't need to be the main focus. I like Birds of Prey, but I will admit Birds of Prey got a little annoying after a while, tiring, because all it was Harley Quinn every scene. And it was like, okay, I need a break. So, Margot Robbie brings it once again. David, I don't even know how to say his last name, plays Polka Dot Man. David, he started out in The Dark Knight, funny enough. He was a paranoid schizophrenic, the kind that the Joker likes to attract. You remember that scene with Harvey Dent in the ambulance? David has the name Rachel, or Dawes, on his name tag of the EMT, and he's laughing. Yeah, that's where. Then he went on to do an Ant-Man movie. Scott Lang's friend, partner, and now he's Polka Dot Man in this movie. He does a great job. Once again, another actor that likes to jump from different comic book characters and movies. This is Ratcatcher 2. Daniela Malachor, brand new actress, up and coming. She does a great job. She provides a lot of the heart of the movie. King Shark, voiced by Sylvester Stallone. Once again, another almost like a Groot character. You wonder how is this character going to work, but somehow James Gunn and his writing team and directing brings this character to life, gives him range, menacing, heartfelt, and does a great job. This movie's hilarious. Unlike the original Suicide Squad, where they tried to make it funny, and it didn't work, this one is hilarious from beginning to end. I mean, you'll be laughing all the way through. A lot of dark humor, which, just like in some of the Guardians movies where you see some dark humor, this one really revs it up because it's rated R. And you'll be laughing the whole way through. This is the most violent DC movie so far. Maybe you thought Batman v Superman had some violent scenes. James Gunn got the R rating he wanted, and he spared no expense, as John Hammond would say. You want violence? I'll give you violence. It's bloody, gory, a lot of shooting, a lot of killing. It's great. Soundtrack, something James Gunn is known for. Just watching Guardians movies. one of the best things about those Guardians movies is the soundtrack, the playlist of songs. Here it's no different. James Gunn put together another excellent soundtrack for this movie. The pacing. Movie's over 2 hours and like 10 minutes. Moves pretty well. I would say only that Harley Quinn scene, which kind of goes off for like 10 minutes. I think they could have cut that down just a little bit and maybe rounded this movie out to 2 hours. Other than that, the editing, I like. Excuse me. The editing. I like how James Gunn was able to transition from scene to scene through words and how they are in the scene, different ways. I thought that was very good. Something different, creative. That's how James Gunn is able to put his mark on the movie and make it his own. And then going to the negatives of this movie. Once again, DC, Marvel, they each have their issues, and that's villains. I didn't think the villains in this movie were strong at all. I feel like we really never got to spend too much time with them. Not that you have to spend a lot of time with your villains to have great villains, you don't. You look at movies like Skyfall. It's almost halfway through that movie till we see the Bond villain, you know. Like I said, even you go back to like Joker, only in 9 minutes of the movie, but he brings enough in those 9 minutes to make you love the character and hate him at the same time. The villains here are weak. Like there's something both Marvel and DC have in common. Just like the first Suicide Squad, the villain was weak. Here, same thing. Overall, I like this movie. I thought it was definitely way better than the first. Sad has only made $25 million in the box office so far. That's what happens when you do streaming and movie theater same day, especially on HBO Max, because HBO Max is like Netflix. You have an account for HBO Max. Guess what? You just go on and watch it. You can have all your little friends over and watch the movie and pay your normal monthly subscription. Unlike Disney Plus, where like with Black Widow or Jungle Cruise, you have to pay like $30 to watch it at home, where it can make some money off of that. So I don't know. This is like I said. I guess Warner Brothers thought, well, Mortal Kombat and Godzilla vs. Kong, made money when we did the HBO Max, and yeah, but now, now with the Delta variant coming, people are more likely to stay home, and like I said, when you have a subscription where, just like Netflix, you only pay 1 month, a monthly fee, you're going to lose a lot of money. And a movie that costs $185 million to make, this is a movie that James Gunn and Warner Bros. Said, this is only going to be in theaters because we have to make our money back. It's not going to make money on HBO Max. So that's why I'm worried about movies like Dune that cost like $200 million to make, and that's going to be on HBO Max and in theaters in October. And then The Matrix 4, another movie that probably cost like $200 million. And it's like, you're not going to make your money. Which is sad. I mean, the movie like Suicide Squad, like this one, I would want a sequel for. And Dune, that movie was planned to be 2 movies. And obviously The Matrix, we'll see how that one does. But overall, in the Suicide Squad movie, around a 4.7 out of 5. But I think if they had stronger villains, and that doesn't make a difference when you watch a movie like this. This is a superhero film. You want the good guys, you want a good if you have great good guys, you want a great villain. If you don't have a great villain, then you really don't care if the good guys take down the villain, because you're like, okay. So a 4.7 is my rating for this Suicide Squad movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. Go to the theater, see it with a crowd of people, You'll laugh, you'll cheer, I think you'll enjoy it overall. Thank you again, Matt the Mad here. I'll have another review coming up very shortly.